Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Real Birding Podcast, the show where we crack open the world of birding and talk about our own birding adventures. I'm Will Keller, coming to you from Charlotte, North Carolina.
And I'm Caleb Putnam in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Caleb, good to talk to you, buddy. Are you enjoying peak fall migration?
I am. And having gotten back from Europe less than a week ago, it's really like kind of a time crunch. You start looking at the calendar and, I got like a week or less to go, and then it's all yellow rumps after that. And the neotrops there'll be a few of them still here, but that whole peak migration party like we've got going right now, that is not going to last much longer.
Yeah, and we're just getting into it now in North Carolina. We are going to talk lots about peak migration and how you, the listener, can maximize your peak migration if you're living in North America right now. But first, let's get into the bird quiz. Last week, we played for y'all the song of a Baltimore Oriole, and nobody guessed the correct answer. I didn't think that one was going to stump you guys, but hey, I know that different birds are challenging for different people. I can certainly say that they are for me. This week, we are going to play for you the song or call of a North American bird, and you are going to guess the name of that bird for a chance at a shout out at the beginning of next week's episode. Here we go. Oh, that didn't blow out your microphone. One more time here. All right, that's all you get. Let's just say this bird is probably going to come up in this week's episode if we're talking about fall migration. But without further ado, let's get into the show. Caleb, I've got to tell you, I am birding my butt off right now. It was kind of a slow summer down here in the Carolinas. There's not a lot going on. It is so stinking hot, and the birds just don't seem to be that active down here, even less so than a little bit further north where the temperatures stay a little bit more temperate, shall we say.
That's such an interesting dynamic shift from Michigan. And I must just be front and center for you. But yeah, I'm just at a fever pitch to I feel like I've got like massive FOMO right now, just fear of missing out on all of this. And in that sense, I wish I could have not, came home so late from Europe and been able to like revel in this a little bit longer. But at least I get to experience it. That's how I'm feeling about it. But how does this? You also not only are getting stuff later, you are also missing things that are going around the Gulf, right? Like Tennessee's and Nashville's must be really uncommon down there, right? Because they're all heading west into Texas, aren't they?
Yeah, I think Tennessee's are a little bit easier than Nashville's. Nashville's like pretty much a proper rarity. It's kind of like maybe not a proper rarity, but like how in Michigan, if you get a mourning warbler on a walk, it's probably worth texting your buddies that you got a mourning warbler somewhere if they want to go see it. It's kind of like that, where if you get a Nashville, you drop it in the local RBA, but you're going to get a couple if you're birding pretty hard,
Right. And actually, mourning warbler's another one of the ones that is doing the Texas thing. But this is so cool. Look in the map here. Nested in the eBird frequency data from the complete checklist, you can see the migration path of this bird from spring and fall. I wonder, have you ever done this before? I wonder if we sort it by fall migration and see.
It's like funneling down through like the Mississippi flyway, but becomes super scarce once you get pretty far south, doesn't it?
Unbelievable. I actually will plead a little bit of ignorance that circumgulf migration patterns were showing up in these maps. That it doesn't surprise me too much, but that is very, very impressive. I know that these things are really uncommon, like in Florida. Like Florida birders just miss out, other than the ones, species that are like wintering in the islands down here. Cape May, redstart, black and white, Parula, stuff like that. Those are all really common down there. But like my good buddy down in Florida just went out today at the peak migration. Guess how many warbler species he had?
How many?
Take a guess. 3. And I predicted he was going to get 2, and he got 3, and it was a quite a good checklist too. So
and two of them were yellow warbler subspecies.
Actually, no, it didn't include yellow warbler, and he didn't get redstart either, which would have been the really abundant one. I think it was Cape May and maybe black and white. I think that was it, and just like ones and twos of them.
Speaking of redstart, did you see that on the Naughty Gull, the pelagic that goes out of New Buffalo in southern Lake Michigan? They had a redstart, a female or young male redstart, land on the boat at about a mile out. So they turned around and took it back to shore, and it flew into the trees.
Oh, that's so cool. I actually did just see that video. It popped up in my feed. And
Pretty cute.
oh yeah, that's a thing. And there was gulls all around the boat, so that warbler was surely worried that those gulls were gonna snatch it, you know?
Oh yeah. Yep. I've seen some pretty brutal examples of Mother Nature taking its course on the Lake Michigan coast. Between the gulls and the peregrine falcons and the merlins, there's no shortage of carnage going on.
Oh, it's terrible. It's not good to be a small land bird out over the water. And Will, I remember one example. I can't remember if you were on the boat with us, but we were probably 3 to 5 miles offshore and had a hummingbird come flying over, and that happens pretty often, actually.
Yeah.
And as this hummingbird comes over the boat, we've got our normal cadre of like 200 herring or ring-billed gulls hanging out right next to us. One of them, without even just missing a beat, just goes right to the hummingbird and right into its mouth and ate the thing right out of the sky. It was unbelievable.
That almost seems a little dangerous with the bill on that hummingbird. I guess they're not thinking it through all the way, but it seems like it could hurt to try to swallow that thing.
Little sublingual fistula action where it's poking out the throat like a starfish. I'm
That's like the
sure
worst thing to see. Yeah. Caleb, I just want to run you through a small play-by-play of some highlights of my fall migration. Are you cool with that?
Let's go.
All right. So I started out Labor Day weekend. I was up in Michigan visiting my parents, and I was with my girlfriend. But I did manage to get away one day to do some lake watching because there were really good north winds. So my mom and I drove up to Charlevoix near Fisherman's Island State Park.
Oh yeah,
We
yeah.
pulled up to this really craggy like sandstone beach, and I'd never actually been there before, but it was really an impressive spot. And early in the morning, there's like kind of not really anything going on. The gulls are kind of churned up offshore a little bit, and this parasitic Jaeger comes bombing down the beach, and it makes one fairly close pass. In the end, I did call it a parasitic. I'm probably being a little bit liberal there. I might go back and take a second look at that and reduce it to Jaeger spa. Because I think it's probably a first county record of any Jaeger species. So I wanted to get confirmed on eBird so that data can get entered in there.
Dude, that's crazy that you got a Jaeger in a quick checklist like
Yeah.
that.
Wait,
That's
share
wild.
my screen. All right, so yeah, here's the bird. Yeah, I was pretty impressed too. I mean, I was obviously hoping to see Jaegers, but I didn't think we'd actually get one. And to be fair, these photos pretty much you can only see that it is in fact a Jaeger, but getting it down to species is hard. Other than you do actually get a decent sense of the shape of the bird. It's kind of you kind of have to be pretty advanced with your Jaeger IDs to make anything of this, but I think most people would agree if you had to choose a shape to fit this bird, it would be a parasitic, kind of like a short-tailed look, but not terribly narrow-winged, kind of
And a pretty
small-headed.
like a big flash in the upper primaries is a juvie parasitic thing too. That's not none of the other age or species classes have that.
Yeah, yeah, and it's again, it's not exactly a field mark, but it's far and away the most common, most expected Jaeger this time of year, any time of year really, except for like January. So yeah, I might go back and call it a Jaeger spot because I do want that data to get in there. But yeah, I thought that was extremely fun.
Dude, I'm amazed that in a short little checklist like that on a random spot on the shore without the geography to your advantage and the winds to your advantage that you would just bump into a Jaeger. That's pretty good.
Well, it was north winds and it was 10, 15 miles an hour, so it was definitely blowing.
So you
But
had a
yeah,
little bit of that then, yeah.
yeah, it's a rare
Got it.
bird, so. I've been doing a little bit of stationary migration watching in the mountains down here in North Carolina. I went to Stone Mountain State Park and did not have any luck. I got one broadwing, and then I went to another spot on the Blue Ridge Parkway, kind of a historical hawk watching spot actually, and bumped into an old timer, and we spent some time, got a couple dozen broadwing talks. So that was pretty fun. I'm,
Nice,
I'm really
nice.
looking forward to this weekend because I think we're kind of getting into that peak broadwing talk time. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah, we're really into that now up here, and of course, the site for Michigan or for the Great Lakes is really Lake Erie Metro Park, where all the birds coming down through Ontario will hit the north shore of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, and which is kind of oriented southwest to northeast, and it'll funnel them westward until they get to the west end of Lake Erie, cross over the Detroit River Channel, so you get a big stack of birds there. And they
Yeah.
had like 24,000 and 20,000 the last 2 days.
Do you remember that checklist of like half a or quarter million broad-winged hawks from Point Mouillet back in like 2005 or whatever?
Yes, it was actually 1999, and it was a 500,000. It was over
That is
500,000, and I think it was September 17th, 1999. I actually just saw a Facebook post from one of the people who was present that day, who's not a Michigander anymore, but was here at the time. And he talked about how, you kind of just look down the north shore of Lake Erie across the channel, and you can see the stacks of birds coming. And he said it took them a few hours to get going, but once it got going, it was like a constant parade for 6 hours of like three layers thick of broadwings coming through. And yeah, I mean, a normal good day there, like I say, would be like 10,000, 20, 30,000. But they literally had 500,000 birds go over that day. And I think it was a world record at the time.
Yeah. I wonder if this is a different date, because this is a 250,000 and 3 Swainson's hawks.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
just crazy.
Yeah, that's
Just
a different
insane.
one. That's a really, really good one. But the 500,000 was literally world record. And I think Galveston, Texas superseded that record after the fact. It like boggles the mind that those birds literally are flying all the way down to Texas, Mexico, Panama Isthmus, and then all the way down. Like I just feel like the public would just marvel at that fact. It sounds so implausible that they're actually doing that. But that's exactly what's going on. I mean, I'd love to get over there this week. I don't know if I'll be able to do it, but
yeah, absolutely. What else is going on with you with fall migration? Do you have any plans? Have you been getting out?
Yeah, there's mainly just to capture the warblers before they're gone. Birding in Europe was awesome, but it was a little bit of pulling teeth with the passerines and the songbirds. So it's just really nice to be able to see the birds here, and to see. No offense, Europe, but things are a little difficult over there. And just the numbers, like if I work hard for a morning, like especially if I jump on the bike and go for 10 miles, I'm going to end up with 10 to 20 bay breasteds, a bunch of Nashvilles, several magnolias. You know how it works. So it's just nice to kind of fill up the gas tank before we get closer to winter,
Yep.
Also hoping to hit like Lake Michigan possibly this weekend as well. We maybe do a little bit of Jaegering from the boat with the crew down here. But I just can't escape the feeling that the clock is ticking here, because it's September 18th, and I mean, what's the date? September 25th? About September 25th, you're going to get that big push, and it's all yellow rumps after that. And I love yellow rumps, but it's so sad, Will. It pains me when you get that first one. You're just like, oh no.
Yeah, and you're just like waving goodbye to all your best friends for another 6 months until they turn back up in late April. Yeah, actually, I was looking at a checklist from Sky Haas over at his like little stationary count that he's doing, and he had some yellow rumps on that checklist. So I'm hoping that they're just residents there and that they're not already migrants, because that would be a bad omen.
It would be. He's obviously getting pushes like kind of in peninsulas and like it's like a microcosm of the big one that you might get at a Galveston, Texas, or a Veracruz, or a Lake Erie Metro Park. But yeah, they've really found some great spots in the UP. I'm actually sharing here a checklist from the Lake Erie Metro Park. Hawkwatch has their own little Facebook page here, and that's where I get a lot of the information from. So this is from the other day, yesterday, and dude, it's not just hawks, man. It's blue jays and it's monarch butterflies. Both, not only do they come through in humongous numbers doing the same thing that those hawks are doing, but they come through at the same time of the peak of the broadwing migration, which is kind of like maybe September 15th to September 23rd ish. Pretty small window. So that's a photo of the blue jays yesterday. But I had a day there with I must have been 5,000 minimum blue jays. I mean, just clouds of blue jays coming over, and it is so cool to witness. And we had, well, it could have been 50,000 monarchs. It could have been 500,000 monarchs, and it could have been 5 million monarchs. I would have no way to tell you. Once there's that many animals in the sky, to try to figure out the order of magnitude on it is really, really hard. But I am telling you, I would take my binoculars and go like this. Everywhere I looked, there was 100 monarchs in my view. I'm not exaggerating. And it went like that most of the day that we were there. That was
Yeah.
maybe 6 or 8 years ago now, right around September 20th. So, it's a spectacular spot, man. If people are around and have the ability to go over there and just spend, maybe arrive at like 10 a.m., 11 a.m., and stay there until usually by 4 o'clock it would end. And, you get a sense of whether it's going to go usually by what, 11 or noon. You'll know.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
here's some broadwings from 2 days ago. But this is what you see. I mean, when you first get on them, it's often they're way out there, way up high. It looks like a cloud of gnats. Like people are like, "Is that insects? A column of insects? What is that?" You get in on them, and nope, it's broadwing
Yeah.
hawks.
Dude, the thing that I love about broadwings when you're watching them from a stationary count or something like that is you get on a close kettle of them, and then you'll be like, what does that little bird end with them? And you'll realize, oh no, there's 2 or 3 that are like another half mile back and up. You know what I mean? So you're getting
Absolutely.
layers of these birds, and you really start to understand the magnitude of of the numbers of birds that are around. One other cool thing, you brought up butterflies. I remember from the Miller Beach waterbird count, I would get butterflies migrating south, but I would also get bats migrating south. Do you ever experience that?
They did, yeah. Often, I believe the specifics might escape me, but I assume it's like red bats and silver-haired, kind of the highly migratory species.
Hmm.
And they're quite likely they're also stacking up on the lake there. I would imagine,
Yeah.
and not wanting to cross the water too much. I will say that we see red bats way out over Lake Michigan often, so that might be one bat species that is not scared of the water.
Hmm.
We've had them 5 to 10 miles out many times in Lake
Yeah.
Michigan.
Yeah,
Um,
dude. I remember watching them come off the lake, uh, and they land in the dunes, and I was like, I'll bet you if you just walk through here and check these poplars, I'll bet they're all up in the poplar trees. And I was right, dude. You just walk up to like a little bushy poplar thing, and there'll be almost every single time a red bat or a silver-haired bat up, kind of up in the leaf clumps. So it's pretty funny. Something I wouldn't have caught on to if I hadn't noticed them flying into the trees.
right. No, that's so funny. Yeah, there's so much going on, and it's not just the hawks, and it's a fun social scene too. Like, this hawk kind of jumped on her back apparently, um, from just the exhaustion of it all, and that kind of stuff can be really fun.
Yeah,
They also have a photo in here of September 17th, 1999, and that's it right there. This is the day that they had 543,533 individuals at the Point
crazy.
Mouillet Hawkwatch spot. And
So did they
what
not do an official count there anymore?
oh no, they do. They're doing it right now. And
So how many
I
official counts are there in Michigan for raptor counts?
oh boy, that's a tough one. Whitefish Point has one. Lake Erie Metro Park in the fall. Many springs, they have it at Port Crescent up in the Thumb. And again, the way they set these up in the places where the birds that are avoiding crossing big water get forced into a parade, they'll set it up right under the parade. As far as I know, there had been one over by Sarnia too, just north of Port Huron on our side.
Hmm.
So, and then of course Brockway Mountain at the tip of the Keweenaw up north, Upper Peninsula. So, yeah, at least five semi or like ones that are manned on an annual basis. I don't know if they're all paid or not, but
Yeah.
yeah, something
Why
like
is it
that.
why is it that those counters don't often put their stuff into eBird?
I don't know the answer to that. I do know that the Humana, HMANA, Hawk Society, whatever the acronym is, they are the caretakers of that data set and often fund much of it as well. So I have a feeling that that's probably why the data just mainly goes to them. Um, I don't know. It could be proprietary or something like that.
Yeah,
But
interesting.
all those sites are just wonderful. And there's this other thing. You don't need to go to the sites where other people are seeing them. One of the really fun things can be to just look for migration concentration points in your neck of the woods. And heck, broadwings migrate inland too. It's not like they don't only migrate on the water. So
Right.
we've had plenty of days where we're on the dune expecting to get broadwings and we don't get them. And then on the drive home, there's kettles going over the highway 20 miles inland.
Yeah.
So, you can just sit in your own yard or at your own patch and just watch the sky and still get a lot of this stuff.
So
You know?
let me tell you, I one of the most like fun mornings I ever had was I was doing when I worked for ECT, I was doing stationary counts for wind turbine development and whatnot. And I won't say what state I was in because that's proprietary as well. But I was in kind of like cornfield, soyfield areas, and it was pretty barren. But there was this big riparian corridor that I was kind of stationed maybe a quarter, half mile from. And I start scanning up over this, and as the morning goes on, blue jays are migrating down through it, raptors are migrating down through it, ospreys, I think like 10 or 12 ospreys
Oh
were just
man.
going south. And I'm like, wow, they're totally using this for, I don't know, food as a landmark. Maybe it's darker in color, so there's more thermals coming up off of it. So yeah, I thought that was really neat. And if I lived there, I would totally go there all the time and try to pick up on that stuff.
I think birding does not have to be done at these big, exciting sites where you have to invest half a day or a full day to do it. As there's always something interesting going on in your local patch. And even, I used to go sit on my roof of my house when I had the right place. I can't do it at the place I currently live at, but um, nothing greater joy than sitting on the roof watching the sky and adding birds to your yard list. So much fun.
I also cannot do that right now. But actually, I do have a view of the Charlotte skyline from my apartment window, and sometimes I sit with binoculars trying to catch our local peregrine falcon pair because I can see a building that I know that they perch on fairly frequently, and I'm like, at some point, I'm going to get peregrine falcon for my yard list, and that's going to be a fun day.
Yeah, one house I had on the outskirts of Grand Rapids for about 2 years, and it was like residentia. This thing did not have habitat, but, I was probably like a mile and a half to 2 miles away from downtown where the peregrines are, and one time I was watching outside and had the bird went over, and I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me." It was the peregrine.
That's awesome.
Once in, like, 3 years, so, you know, it's and we've said it 1,000 times, but, birding is like a scavenger hunt, and if you just keep at it long enough, you will find a big prize eventually. It will
Yeah.
happen.
One more cool little thing. I work on the 36th floor of a high rise in uptown Charlotte, and I was just kind of looking out the window on Monday, and I noticed this little falcon fly by and land on the top of another building right across the street, and it was a merlin. It kind of landed and bobbed its tail right back up, and I was like, "No way! That's like totally
Wow.
a migrant. That's just like I don't know, sitting in the crow's nest right now, taking a rest, looking for
Wow.
something to eat." Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool.
That's so fun.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. What
another
else we got?
issue is photo management from all these trips because I'm just realizing I really want to get in and do these Europe photos, but the problem is I have too much work in front of me right now for the next few days, and it might take me like a week before I can actually get into them. But when I finally get the time to do it, I have 3 other trips, including Colombia and an England trip from a year ago, like, and then one other big trip too. So like I don't know. I'm getting behind and it's getting bad.
I
It's becoming so intimidating. I feel like I'm stuck in, like a deer in the headlights right now.
I can't wait for you to go through your Columbia photos and get those uploaded because I did not take enough photos on that trip, and the photos that I did take, I was able to process kind of in real time. Like I would just sync them onto my phone and upload them into checklists and whatnot. But that was only for like a dozen or so species. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what you've got to add to that because you were like always on those birds. So
Want a little teaser? I have some of them edited, just
yeah,
like
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
a quarter of them.
Let's see it.
Um,
Flower piercer, nice.
yeah, this is the name. I'm going to be terrible with the names. For some reason, they don't stick very easily these days. But yeah, this is the blue backed flower piercer or chestnut bellied flower piercer, something like that.
Yep.
This is a good quiz, Will. You have the young brain, so you have to remember
Oh,
these, not me.
oh, good
That's the
luck,
fe- that's the
hummingbird.
female sylph, right? Violet-tailed sylph, I believe.
Yeah, or
Turquoise.
long-tailed, right? I can't remember.
Yeah, yeah. This was at Montezuma Lodge, so I think it'd be specific there. This is Empress Brilliant, really
Oh yeah,
huge, incredible species. I mean, among
yep.
many.
Big build. Ooh, what do we got here?
Yeah, this was was it a tyrant, a bush tyrant, smoky something bush tyrant? I think it was kind of like uh, a flycatcher would sit on either the wire or the fence posts and do its thing, and it was like super endemic right to that area, I believe.
Okay. Okay.
And
I already
we didn't
forgot
see
about
many.
that one.
Yeah, it was at the top where we ate breakfast at the very top of the road with the military
Mhm.
installation right there.
It's
Um,
hard, dude. There are so many birds.
yeah, that's the same bird right there.
Okay.
Oh, and
Oh, I
velvet
remember
purple
that.
coronet. I mean, come on. How are these color patterns real right here? Orange with
That
emerald, with turquoise, with indigo, and black, all in the same bird right there.
yeah, unreal. And I remember they were pretty, they would come right up to you, fly right in front of your face, and a lot of hummingbirds did that, but those were especially amenable to people.
Yeah, they seem kind of a little bit fearless. Big white tail on them too. Barrel spangled tanager. Remember this one? We didn't get
Oh, yeah.
too many great looks at it, but this was like the best one that I was able to get.
Yeah. Such
Um,
a good group, too.
Incredible. And then long-tailed sylph, one the other. This is the female, of course, but the male has it's like a scissor-tailed hummingbird, basically. The male,
Yeah, like a 7-inch plumes coming off the back.
and then tanager finch here, which is like this endemic. It doesn't act like a finch though; it's a skulker in the deep, dense shadows of the cloud forest.
Mhm.
And we didn't see it hardly at all. But then at this one spot, we had this flock of them pop up. I think it was after you left, actually.
I remember we got that bird, but we didn't get looks like that. I remember we were looking through all sorts of brush.
Right, right. And then
Fantastic.
this was another one that you all, you and a couple of the others left before Rhoda and I were stuck around, and that we had the black solitaire after you left. I think did you guys
Mhm.
get this one or not? I can't remember.
So we got it vocally. We heard it many times, but didn't actually, we might have gotten eyes on it, but from very far away.
Yeah, yeah,
But we
yeah.
heard it quite frequently. But yeah, that's a really
This
pretty
thing,
bird.
oh, it was unbelievable. It was up in the canopy up high and really backlit, but I just pumped up my exposure compensation to get it to look like that. So yeah, there's anyway, a little bit of a sneak peek. I got a long
Heck
ways
yeah.
to go, but got a few of them done.
Yeah, I can't wait to see all those, dude.
So dude, we would be remiss not to talk about this really rare bird that just showed up in South Texas. This double striped thickney.
Yeah,
Surely you've heard about this.
absolutely. I got a text from Talus like 10 minutes after it was posted. So
Right, right.
yeah,
And
what a
it's
record, dude.
It's incredible. I don't know how it was found initially. I'd love to hear the story, but it's on private property, but it was kind of out in some private field, and apparently the homeowner's like amenable, and people are showing up and getting all these photos. But you know, it's actually slightly timely because in Spain, I just had crippling looks at night at the European stone curlew is what they call it there, but you could also call it a thickney. It's the same. It's different labels for the same type of bird, and it looks
Okay.
quite similar to this. It's also nocturnal, largely nocturnal. It makes these screams, these wailing, loud screams at night.
Yeah.
And I don't think we have but one other record of double striped thickney in the U.S. Right from like the
Yeah,
'60s, and it's a
a
specimen, I
long
think.
time ago. Yeah, it's wild. Have you ever seen a thickney before?
I'm almost positive I've missed this on all of my tropical trips. I'm pretty sure. The only thickneys I had gotten were the two species in Australia. There's a bush thickney and a beach thickney, and we were
Okay.
lucky to get both of those. And they're similar to this, but with some key differences. And the beach thickney actually was entirely found on the beaches. It would not go inland. It was pretty awesome.
So I got to
Um,
tell you, I've done many trips to the tropics, the neotropics in America, but the only one that I did that was not for birding was like 2019 spring break. Me and a buddy went down to Costa Rica just to sit on the beach and hang out and have fun. And it was in Guanacaste, Costa Rica, and on the grounds of the place we were staying, they had double striped thickneys, and they were very common. And I didn't even eBird them at the time because I was like, I'm sure I'll be back to Costa Rica. I didn't even think about it that hard. But I've never seen one since, and I've done a lot of traveling in the tropics. So I actually went back in and entered a sort of a historical incidental checklist for double stripe thickney
nice.
because I was like, I need to eBird this because that's too cool.
It really makes you wonder how many of these are around but never get discovered because detection is like a non-trivial issue with these things.
Yeah.
Look at the range map here, dude. Like they're really only common once you get down to the bottom of Tamaulipas and key areas and then down into the isthmus here, Veracruz. So there's a big gap, but like this is a lot of land too, and you have to believe that one that pops up is not going to get discovered. The chances that somebody who's a birder who can identify it would get on it has got to be so low.
Yeah,
And
and
this
somebody's
is
gonna so somebody would call it a road runner or something.
or just they'd go, that's weird, and they wouldn't, or maybe even if they figured out what it was, they wouldn't tell the birding community, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
this is actually quite a ways north. I didn't realize it's almost in San Antonio. Like
yeah,
I was figuring it was much down in the lower Rio Grande Valley compared to this, but that's at the latitude of Louisiana. Huh.
yeah. So maybe in another 60 years, one will show up in Oklahoma and we can go chase it.
Right. Or it'll do the southern lapwing thing and end up in Michigan. Who knows?
Yeah, there
Birds
you
do
go.
crazy, crazy stuff sometimes.
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in to this episode of the Real Birding Podcast. As always, please participate in our bird quiz, like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and go out there and see some birds this week. Enjoy fall migration.
Enjoy the end of fall migration, everybody, and we will look forward to talking with you next week.
Peace.
Peace.